Good evening, everybody. Welcome to 49ers Live tonight. The 49ers, the NFL playoff update, 49ers playoff preview. 49ers earlier today getting their final walkthroughs as they're going to take on the Philadelphia Eagles for the NFC Wild Card playoff. In fact, the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. The play at Lincoln Financial Field. It's going to be the late window tomorrow. You just finished a wild finish in Soldier Field in Chicago. Chicago Bears coming from behind to beating their longtime rival, the Green Bay Packers, 31-27 to win the rubber matchup, their series for the season. Packers go home. The Bears will now await the winner of tomorrow, the outcome of tomorrow's playoff game. If the Eagles were to defeat the 49ers tomorrow, the Bears, they will hook up in the NFC Divisional Playoff at Soldier Field next weekend. We don't know either 1 week from tonight or tomorrow. However, if the 49ers were to win tomorrow, then the Niners would head to Seattle. It is simple. If the Bears will play the Eagles tomorrow if they win. If the Niners somehow were to knock off, if the 49ers were to knock off the Eagles, then this would happen. The Niners would. Because they're the 6th seed, the lower seed, the worst seed, they will end up taking on. They will take on the Seahawks next weekend for the NFC Divisional Playoff. The Rams would most likely. The Rams will go to Chicago. So pretty much Chicago waits the winner. It depends on tomorrow's win. If the Niners win, they'll take on Seattle, and the Rams take on the Bears. If the Eagles win, they'll take on the Chicago Bears. A wild finish around the NFL scoreboard from you just seeing the Chicago Bears 1-point trail 27-9 come all the way back to win 31-27. Caleb Williams, the former USC star, threw for 361 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and then while Jordan Love threw for 323 yards and 4 touchdown passes in the losing effort. And looking at in that NFC Wild Card playoff game, and then in the earlier game today, it was the Rams holding off a spunky upstart Carolina Panthers team 34-31. And MVP Matthew Stafford threw for 304 yards, threw 3 touchdown passes. Bryce Young threw for 264 yards and a touchdown in the losing effort. Puka Nacua, 10 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Coker for the Panthers, 9 balls, 134 yards, and a touchdown in the losing effort. And then, so the Rams will now advance to the NFC Divisional Playoff, and we know for sure they will now get the winner. And if it's pretty much it all comes down to tomorrow's game. If the Eagles win, Then the Eagles would take on the Chicago, meaning the Rams. Eagles take on the Bears. The Rams most likely will travel. The Rams would go to Seattle for the divisional playoff up in Seattle. However, if the 49ers were to win, that means the Niners would head to Seattle next weekend. Then the Rams would go to Chicago for the NFC divisional playoff at Soldier Field in Chicago. And let's just take a look around the other of the NFL playoff bracket for Sunday, the early game. Buffalo at Jacksonville. The Jaguars, champions of the AFC North or South. They will take on the Buffalo Bills. That's the early game on CBS. And then Niners and Eagles at 1:30. That will be on Fox. The Jaguars Bills game will be on CBS. Jim Nantz with Tony Romo with the call, and then the second game on Fox, Niners and Eagles, Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady with the call. And yay! Sunday Night Football, Chargers and the Patriots hooking up on NBC. That's streaming on Peacock as well. The Bills-Jaguars game will be streaming on CBS Paramount Plus. And then to wrap up the Wild Card weekend on Monday night, the Houston Texans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football in the AFC Wild Card game. And so we're going to take a look at the final injury report. So word came out today. We're just going to take a look of the final injury report for the 49ers. Glad you guys joined. Check us out, youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. Please click the subscribe button. Yep, so of so taking a look at where's of course the news of the day. Kyle Juszczyk, Christian McCaffrey, and Trent Williams, all three of them was named to consensus All-Pro by the AP. Some other news. They made some roster moves right before the game. Allen's game status has been downgraded from questionable to now out. On injured reserve seasons over, they signed Kajir White this week to the practice squad. The Niners who are big underdogs are trying to just make what they have. They've been a bang up unit all year long, And I just like to see the 49ers just be competitive. I don't want, they did not go 12-5 for nothing. They didn't get this far with all the injuries. I like to see them have a close game. I don't want to see the ugliness when they got blown out. I know that's the us versus the world. The Niners, of course, last Saturday night, 1 week ago, last Saturday night, lost to their rival Seattle Seahawks. They lose the NFC West. They lose the first round bye and home field advantage, and now the road to Super Bowl 60 starts right here. And the Niners are, the odds are against them. How much they have left in the tank? Can they try to win this playoff game? For Brock Purdy, he's yet to win a first playoff game ever in his as a starter. Niners been playing with house money. How much more they can do with it? Hopefully they can get a win. They win this game, they'll play Seattle next weekend up in Seattle for the divisional playoff, and that would be the rubber match. And then that put them within a game of the NFC Championship, and then you we'll see what happens. But the Niners try to win this football world, and they have to be they would have to they have to be toppled before you can think otherwise. So there's an opportunity there for the 49ers, and of course we'll be on location tomorrow for the NFC Wild Card playoff on the road. We'll be on location for 49er playoff Central. We'll be at the Jake Steaks. Be at Jake Steaks. I'm gonna we'll be at Jake Steaks in the city, voted the best cheesesteak in San Francisco, located at 3301 Buchanan Street between Lombard and Chestnut Streets in the city. They're open daily. Great people to come, and they're great people. The nice people, the owners there. They've been open over the last 2 decades. That's one of my favorite cheesesteak places here in the city is Jake Steaks, and my second favorite cheesesteak place to go to is the original Philadelphia cheese stock located on Divisadero Street in the city. So the Niners have this opportunity to, you know, try to make that dream a reality. And this is the first step towards Super 60. Of course, Super Bowl 60 coming to the Mecca at Levi Stadium on Sunday. And about 3 weeks from tomorrow. Sunday, February 8th at Levi Stadium, the kickoff time at 3:30 Pacific. That will be on NBC Sports and streaming live on the Peacock. So so we're gonna take this. Well, and that will be coming up on. And there's a lot of 49er fans right now in the Philadelphia. So So we're going to get ready to wrap it up for tonight, though. Just a very short podcast tonight. We'll be having our audio cast, virtual audio cast tomorrow. Jake Steaks tomorrow. We are going to or so just take a look at the taking a look at that. All right, we're going to continue on 49ers Live tonight as we continue on Niners Radio 49. We're going to continue as we're going to get you ready for 49ers and the Eagles for tomorrow. We're going to give you Kyle Shanahan's presser from yesterday, what his thoughts of going into Sunday's game. And that will be pretty much our final segment. And we will, we're going to share it with you right now. So here's Kyle Shanahan, his presser earlier, I think yesterday from, this is from yesterday from 49ers.com. So that is going to be our next segment. So, and then of course we'll be doing our audio cast interactive over at Jake Stakes tomorrow. I'll be doing some play-by-play, giving like a mock broadcast and on location, and then we'll have our 49ers post-game recap immediately tomorrow following the game. So we will. That will be for tomorrow. We'll have, and then right after the game, we'll have our regular 49ers Live NFC Wild Card playoff report right after the game with Kyle Shanahan and we're gonna. This is something we'll hear from him right now. Kyle Shanahan talking about don't waste the moment, don't waste any moment, because this is a one game single elimination. All right, sorry about that. We have some technical problems. We're going to give you the Kyle Shanahan presser from yesterday. This is from courtesy of 49ers.com. I'd like to thank the 49ers for their assistance throughout the year. We're going to do the audio version just for now. Kyle Shanahan talk about don't waste that moment. And, this is he's trying to stress on the team yesterday in his presser. And so we will. So we will just definitely take a look at the incorrect one. This is Kyle Shanahan from yesterday, talking to the media before they got out of town. They head to Philly, so let's hear Kyle Shanahan and his presser from yesterday. Audio feed courtesy 49ers, which begins right now.
Deion White questionable, Trent Williams questionable, Ricky Pearsall questionable, Gifford questionable, Cowing questionable, Renardo Green questionable. Go ahead.
What's Renardo Green's injury?
He's seeing something today. I think it was foot. I'm gonna put it down here.
Did Pearsall get out and do anything today?
He did not.
And did Trent do anything after he warmed up?
Yeah, he was limited.
Now on Wednesday, you were less optimistic about Jacob Cowing playing, but after watching the last few days, any change of mind there?
No.
Does Ricky fall into the boat of a player who didn't practice this week who would have a chance to go on Sunday?
Yes. Yeah. Ricky's been doing this year. Jake's just different. This is his first practice this year. It was this week. He didn't get any training camp either.
Given the list of injuries you just went through, the Eagles have injuries as well, but you're going to be the road team. You're going back to a place where you did not have playoff success 2 years ago. Different team, I understand that, but what's the move going in? Are you focused on not having, a bad performance? You're focused on making sure the people that are filling in the gaps are all on one mind, one accord? What's the mood of you, the coaching staff, and
Going around one of the playoffs, playing as good a football as we can, being as prepared as we can, and cutting it loose for 3.5 hours.
Considering what the injury report looks like, might you have to do more than just have the two standard elevations? Might you have to make moves on the 53-man?
Yeah, possibly, depending on how that goes. We would possibly have to do that. Yeah, you're only allowed to have 2 elevations, so if we need more than that, we'd have to make a roster move.
Fred Warner doing some stuff on the field, on side field yesterday. If you guys were to win, would you open his practice window next week?
I haven't been told that yet.
Would he come on the flight with you guys?
I haven't asked that. Not sure.
What kind of difference does Jalen Phillips make for the Eagles?
Anytime you had a good rusher like Jalen, edge rushers, whether they're getting the production on their own or they're making those tackles play wider to honor them, to help inside, it helps the whole defense. And I think you can look at them statistically since they've had them and see statistically what it's done, and you see the same thing on tape.
If this were not a playoff game, would players like D and Ricky be out?
I don't know. It's a big hypothetical. Last week wasn't a playoff game, and I didn't look at it any different. So I would say there's no difference in last week and this week.
whether it's moving in late today and then tomorrow in Philadelphia? If you thought about the weather, what role that plays, the swirling winds in South Philadelphia?
Yeah, I get updates on it, and right now it sounds like, as far as we're getting pretty lucky without lack of rain or snow or things like that, but it sounds like there's a chance of winds, similar to what we dealt with in Cleveland. So we'll see how it is on Sunday, and if the winds are bad, You know, sometimes you got to deal with it for 2 quarters. If they're swirling, it could be 4. So we'll adjust accordingly.
6th seed and 21 when you went into Dallas and won. Do you tap into that experience at all? And I guess how challenging has this playoff season been compared to your past ones?
We'll see. This is our first one of it, you know. So, you know, we last time we went on the road, we did pretty good with it. You know, being able to finish in the NFC Championship game. It's a different challenge every time you go. Different team that we have, different team that we're playing. So, guys that were part of that stuff, you realize how you do it. It's one game at a time. You know, we didn't think about having to go on the road for 3 games to try to get to the Super Bowl or anything like that. We thought of going to Dallas and trying to come up with a win. And when we pulled that off, all we thought about was Green Bay for the next 7 days. And when we pulled that off, all we thought about were the Rams for the next 7 days. So that's the main thing I can gather from that experience.
Is this the biggest challenging season you've had to get to the playoffs?
I wouldn't say so, just because we were sitting there fighting for the 1 seed in the last week. You know, that time we had I think, erased a 17-point deficit to get the 7th seed in the last game of the year to get in. So, you know, I think we had to win 6 out of our last 7 just to be that last team. So I think that was a little more challenging year to make it in. But this.
Since he's been here to
go, and you realize how hard it is to get there, and also how quickly it can end. So you got to be all in. You don't waste this moment. You do get tired at the end of the year. It's a long grind to get to this point, but once you get to this point, you don't want it to end, and you got to work very hard and be extremely focused to make that happen. And people have gone through it before and know how hard it is to get there in any situation. I think understand that a lot more than others.
Given how young the team is, how important was it for him to say that? Because I think the example he gave was at the end of my 2nd season, I was tired. I was kind of thankful it was over.
Yeah, I do think it's important. I think the human nature of things, like everyone is tired at the end of this year, but you have to realize what you work for, why you started doing this back in February, why we've done this throughout the year, and this is really all that it comes down to. And I told him like a month ago we had like 14 hours guaranteed in what we're judged on, and right now we have 3.5 hours left, and it's up to us to earn 3 more hours after that.
Does the team look more fresh after a normal week than it has in the last few weeks?
I think big time. I think the 3 games in 13 days, the 3 national TV games, you know, all that stuff that I've talked about, I think it really added up. And getting a normal week plus an extra day this week, just getting 8 days. I remember seeing the players on Wednesday, and we all kind of joked that it felt like we just came back from a bye week, because it kind of did. It was our first time having a normal routine in about 3 weeks, and just getting away for a little bit. I think guys felt much more rested as the previous 3.
Random question. You mentioned being on 17th, the Rams in that game. I remember Barry jumping into the end zone and celebrating with him. Have you ever brought up that moment up with him? Obviously, you came back and did it.
No, we never messed with each other. So.
George had an interesting account of his bus ride to the stadium his rookie season, playing at Lincoln Financial. Do you have any story on that for you?
I go earlier in the buses, but I used to not get my own ride there before I was a head coach. So I do remember going there maybe the first time, because my head was asleep on the bus window, and then I thought it got shot. But it was an egg hit in the window, and it actually shattered it somehow with an egg. Maybe it was hard-boiled. But yes, be ready.
That's it.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, that was Kyle Shanahan talking about, got to enjoy that moment. This is it. Try to, getting yourself ready. This is a single game elimination. Because from this point going forward, you're not promised or guaranteed you're going to get to that next round, and I take 1 point. Because these things don't happen. I think the last thing we learned from last year, after the Niners coming off that devastating, heartbreaking loss to the Kansas City Chiefs 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, and then with everything, with all the injuries and everything, the mental side fell apart. After that, not making the playoffs, finishing dead last in the division, and then the Niners with all the injuries this year, you have to enjoy these moments, and you have to enjoy these moments. I just like to see the Niners just have a competitive game and get it right down to the wire. Where if Eddie Pinero, who is had a chance to be the hero, and by the way, I think the key of tomorrow's game will be the special teams. And the Niners special teams have been the X factor, have improved dramatically from last year. And Sky Moore has a big game. If they can set up some great field position, the Niners got a good chance to win this game. But I think the special team is going to be the key, and I like that advantage with the 49ers. So we are just a reminder coming up. We'll be out there tomorrow to our 49er audio cast tomorrow, and that so that's gonna end up gonna wrap it up for tonight on 49ers Live. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and I'd like to thank for all of you watching. And we'll have our post game show regardless what happens. The Niners, hey, they got here for a reason, and there's no reason why the Niners can make a make a run. If they were, the Eagles are the team. If they beat us, they deserve to move on. But if we beat them, if the Niners beat them, then they deserve to move to the next round. And that would put them a game away from the NFC Championship game. So, also some other reminders coming up during the week of the Super Bowl. We have some big events coming up in the city. I've got one for my Flyers. Black Men's Health Conference will be at Merritt College in Oakland, February 3rd to the 4th at Merritt College in Oakland. And then this is an interesting event. It just was announced that Sheila E., a lot of you don't know, Sheila E., who was a who of course her father Pete Escovedo band, but she of course was a protege of Prince, the late Prince, who was one of my favorite artists from the '80s growing up. She's going to be having at the Super Bowl performance at the Guild Theater in Menlo Park. That will be a show Friday, February 6th. That's going to be a special evening hosted by NFL 49er Hall of Famer, 4-time Super Bowl champion Ronnie Lott will be there, and a portion of the proceeds benefit Follow the Music. And check out the website at guildtheater.com. That's guildtheater.com. They'll be in the South Bay in Menlo Park. So, but that's something to talk about. And we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Professor B, we're now at 10 o'clock on the dot. Thank you for watching 49ers Live tonight. NFL Playoff Report. Once again, tomorrow, Niners and Eagles. 1:30 is the kickoff. But before that, preceded by the Patriots and the Chargers. This is a rematch of the first time that these two teams are going to hook up since the 2007 AFC Championship. Of course, they also met in that 2006 AFC divisional playoff. That year, the Chargers had the best record in the AFC. In fact, had the best record in all of football, 14-2 record, and they blew that lead to the Patriots, and then and they end up gave that game away, and the Patriots came back and won the game in that divisional playoff, advanced to the AFC Championship to take on the Colts, and that was the final game. Marty Schottenheimer, was fired after that game, and then after that, then it's not, and then they'll play on NBC. The early game on CBS will be the Jaguars and the Bills, and then wrap it all up on Monday night, the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Houston Texans. Professor B signing off, and I'd like to thank all of you for watching tonight. And for the latest news of the 49ers, go to 49ers.com. That's 49ers.com. Wish all of you a very pleasant good evening. Good night, everybody. And we'll be on the air tomorrow around that midday. We'll be at Jake's Steaks here in the city. And we hope that if you're in the neighborhood, please stop on by. Professor B signing off and wishing you all a very pleasant good evening. Niners Radio 49 exclusive presentation of the Satellite Digital Media Network, where every team is a fan and every fan is a voice. The network home of champions. And good luck to the 49ers. Go Niners.
Wow.